I'm this young fashion enthusiast from India, New Delhi. Before joining EDEHC in France, I was studying in India, and my degree was Bachelor's in Fashion Technology or Bachelor's in Apparel Production and Management. For a lot of people, it's confusing what this field is. So it's everything apart from fashion designing. How is like let's say the shirt made, not designed. Once you have a design, what would you do? How would you market it? Where will you get the fabric from? So I did all of that. And while I was doing my professional degree in New Delhi, I got a chance to go to France for 6 months on an exchange program in a textile engineering college where I studied design and distribution management. And that's where I took an elective in luxury. And I realized like I had an experience with France, I had studied luxury, and that's when I decided that I had to come back somehow. And that's when I decided, after completing my graduation, I decided to do my master's at EDEHC. And I chose the double degree program at EDEHC because I was fresh out of graduation. I did not have a lot of work experience apart from my extensive internship experiences, which were, I think, 12 or 13. And that's when I realized that, I did not want to do an MBA. I wanted to pursue a program which was longer, which would give me, like EDEHC gives you a gap year to work between your two masters, which I thought would be perfect for me. And my program at EDEHC is Masters in Business Management with specialization. That's MSc in Marketing in Luxury and Fashion. While I was researching for courses in Europe, because like I already said, I wanted to come here and I also wanted to be closer to my industry. I had experience in fashion and textiles, but I was trying to move a bit towards luxury. And for me, France was the best place to start my search, begin my search with. And when I was looking at business schools, I realized that they offer the MIM track, which is Masters in Management, which comes with a specialization. And it made perfect sense to me because I had a very technical background. So I studied science and then I did a technical degree, which is fashion technology. So I felt like it was the perfect program for me to switch from a technical side, do 1 year of business management, understand the nitty-gritty of how business works, and then do my specialization later in marketing, luxury and fashion, which I originally wanted to do. I applied in the 4th round of applications, the 3rd or 4th round, the last one, because before that I was not very sure if I'd be able to make it or if I wouldn't be able to make it. So I gave my GMAT and I applied, I gave my IELTS and I applied. So I applied to HEC, I applied to ESSEC, and I got acceptance from a lot of good schools, even London Business School. But the reason why I chose EDEHC and haven't regretted it till date is their support in terms of scholarship. They saw my profile and they gave me a huge, I'm the recipient of the co-finance scholarship from EDEHC and the French Embassy in India. And I think that made my decision was confirmed. Like I was like, this school has recognized me, my potential, even in the last round of applications. And they're willing to extend such a huge support to me. And coming from a very humble background in India, I think that made all the difference to me and my family. And till date, like I keep mentioning it to people in EDEHC that thank you for making this happen, because that support meant a lot to me. If you're applying to EDEHC, based on your application, you have three levels of scholarship which are automatically awarded to you. Of course, you have to tick a box and tell them that you're looking for a scholarship. And once you clear one of those boxes, which is, I think, 10% support, 20%, 30%. And I'm really sorry, I'm forgetting the names of those levels. But if you are seeking a scholarship, you just have to mention it in your application form, and your application would be, judged on the basis of whether you are a potential scholarship holder or not. And once you clear that level, then you have the co-finance scholarship, where you have to give an interview, where you have to write your statement of purpose. You have to explain to them why you seek a scholarship and why you would be the perfect fit, because the co-finance scholarship is only given to 2 students. And I think it's the same for this year and the coming year, that 2 students, one from the Lile campus of EDEHC gets it, which is the business management track, and the other one is a student gets it at the Nice campus, which is the finance track. So you have to be like, you really have to make sure that your statement of purpose really convinces the EDEHC committee to give you the scholarship. If you're taught EDEHC, you already know that the campus, the business management campus, is in Lille, actually in nearby Lille, called in a place called Croix. And Lille is super budget friendly compared to Paris. I'm comparing the place to Paris because that's the capital. And if you're like me, who loves eating and would be able to survive in a small apartment and don't need anything lavish to live, I think you can survive brilliantly. I live in a small space. I have my own space. I share this, I have what we called co-location. Like, I have people living with me in the same house, and it's pretty good. It's not too much. I think if I had to give you like a rough estimate, you should have around 600 to 800 euros to spend every month. But you also have housing assistance from the French government. So if you qualify for that, that comes down a lot. But I think in 600 to 800, it can be a comfortable life. Sometimes there are months when I'm just, in my exam months, when I'm just in the house, I think it's way lesser than 600. So I think Lille and the surrounding places, Roubaix, Croix, should be pretty easy as compared to Paris. It was difficult, not from my parents' point of view, because they were pretty supportive of whatever I wanted to do. But I was a big nerd in school. So I was this person who was topping her classes, who was also in the student association. I was this nerd which people were definitely expecting to join, like, the best engineering school of India or something like that. And I won't lie, I actually sat for all the engineering exams, and I also happened to clear them. And I also, sat for architecture exams, everything which is related to the science field, because I was studying physics, chemistry, maths when I was in high school. And it was pretty difficult to convince once I had cleared my engineering exams, entrance exams. And in India, entrance exams are very difficult. Like, the population is huge, and then it's super competitive. And that's when my family was like, "Are you sure you want to venture into fashion? Is it what you want to do?" And my only leverage point was the fashion course which I did is technical. You need physics, chemistry, and maths to be able to clear the entrance exam for that. And second, I was going to the best fashion college in India, which is National Institute of Fashion Technology. So I played my cards right, and I also felt like I had aptitude in that direction, and I didn't want to do anything monotonous. And it all happened to work out in my favor. But honestly, it was difficult to convince people around outside my family that, okay, I'm doing something good, you're going to see later on. But it didn't make a lot of difference. Like, I'm glad what I did. I chose something different, and I'm happy with it. Because I'd already stayed in France for, a couple of months before I made the big move, it wasn't that difficult for me. There wasn't, let's say, per se, that cultural shock, which a lot of people talk about, because I'd seen what the culture was like. And also it happened that I came to the same city again where I was before this. So I was very familiar with my surroundings. So I was comfortable on that level. But I have to be honest, the couple of months which I'd spent in France before EDEHC were fun, because I'd come on an exchange program. I was studying, but I was also having fun. I was backpacking through Europe. The reality hit me pretty hard when I had to actually start staying in France. But I think it was not really about France. It was about me as an individual, studying alone, living alone, doing all my chores on my own. Because in India, we have a lot of help. If there's any Indian who's going to watch this, they'll vouch for the fact that we have people who, wash our dishes, clean our houses, do our laundry. We never have to take out the garbage on our own. So I think on all those little points, I had problem adjusting, but nothing too big. India had prepared me for that rigorous schedule of, studying, being competitive. And when I came to France, I was shocked by how were as compared to India. They knew how to do everything, but personal life made a lot of it was imperative to have a personal life, like going out to ski or, just cycling every day, running. And that's something which I have definitely adapted from the French culture, which was you have to give yourself time, take a cup of coffee and sit for 1 hour in a cafe just by yourself reading a book, which I was definitely not doing in India. But coming back to the question, my work schedule, I've always been a person who was doing a lot. Even in India, I was this person. When I was in fashion school, I was a part of the fashion society. I was part of the literary society, and I wanted to replicate the entire experience in France as well. So in my first year at EDEHC, I was a part of 2 associations and not just one. One was the Model United Nations Association, because I'd been doing Model United Nations when I was in school back in India. And that really helped me integrate with the French students. And apart from that, I was also the president of a sustainability association at EDEHC, which is called EcoThink. And so my experience was, I was definitely this person who was studying, but I was doing a lot more than just that. And this came from a personal need to be able to integrate with the French people, the French students. And I realized the easiest way, or the most difficult way, because a lot of international students have a tough time getting into associations, would be to become a part of one. And I'm super happy I did that, because I made some incredible friends over time. And for my Indian parents, I was also in the top 5% percentile of EDEHC when I finished my first year. So everything balanced out pretty well. I could send home my report card, as they say in India. And my parents were happy. I was happy being a part of associations. So it worked out pretty well. I think the relations between India and France, like diplomatic relations, are pretty strong. And we have something called Campus France, which is super helpful if you have any doubts about moving to France. And they make paperwork really easy. You just have to, it's a very, I don't think so there is any problem in applying for a student visa if you have an acceptance from a French college and you have been in touch with Campus France. Campus France is in every city. Since I'm from New Delhi, I was going to the one at Lodi Road for people from Delhi who'd be watching this. So it's pretty easy if you have all your papers, if you have your acceptance. And even before having an acceptance from a French business school, if you have any doubts, feel free to reach out to Campus France. Their website is pretty, you can navigate it, it's good. And apart from that, there shouldn't be any visa problem. Yes, of course, the tricky part is, would you be able to get a job? I'm not sure. Because in France, you definitely need to speak French, especially in roles of sales and marketing, which are the roles, by the way, which I'm targeting. So I do face these rejections quite often based on the fact that I'm not a native French speaker. But so far, I've been able to land internships in some really French maisons, as they say. I worked with LVMH and I worked in the luxury cosmetics industry. So it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a rosy life, because people always say, oh, France, Paris, it's gonna be all, baguettes and wine and macarons. It's not like that. It is tough. The language is definitely a barrier, but if you push through, if this is something that you really want to do, it's going to be okay. And I think if you do a 3-year long master's or a professional master's, anything but not a 1-year program, you get to stay back for 2 years. The terms, people can search for it and see what the technical regulations are. I don't want to talk a lot about it because I don't want to give out wrong information, but I'm just giving pointers that it is possible and you get 2 years to look for a job if you've done a professional course like mine. I think the other career services are really well built. Like you have career days, like you pointed out, there's a dedicated forum in Paris where all the companies come, so you can ask them questions about what they're looking for in candidates. And some of the companies also have speed recruiting happening right there. So I think all the services they provide in terms of industry connection are really good. But apart from that, what I really like is that they do consultant coachings one-on-one. They like every edX student gets a personal consultant and personal coaching from an industry mentor, an industry of your choice. And that's where you can really, talk to that person, tell them what your career goals are or aspirations are, and get help. And I think that's something which personally helped me. We also had, I remember we have this thing which was called like a pitch academy, where they teach you how to have an elevator pitch, how to deliver an elevator pitch. And I think all of those things have really helped me over time. And we had like an international career services person who would tell us, how to make a CV which is fit for the French market. So all of these help, little tricks and tips we keep getting from edX side. I think it has definitely made me more independent. If like starting from my answers from the beginning to the end, if I had to just like put it in a crux, it has definitely made me way more independent. Even though I was very independent back home, my parents were those people who were pampering me. I know a lot of Indian, kids get that. And that was my huge complaint to my mom always. I'm like, look at my friends, their parents do this, their parents do that, and you don't do anything. So I always thought I was an independent person. But when I came to France, it became like really concretely, I was like, okay, I've grown up. Because the life abroad, compared to the Indian life, it teaches you to do things on your own. Second would definitely be the respect for your own time. And I think I already touched upon this earlier, like you have to give yourself time. Like being bogged down by work is not a badge of honor. You don't have to wear proudly that you work like 24 hours, you work 24/7, because I think you need to relax a bit. And I see it in a very positive light. Like I was going out for vacation with my friends. I just got to know myself better staying in France. And I think this is an Indian speaking. This was a chance I don't think I would have gotten back home. So I'm super grateful to France for doing that. And definitely for their food. It's amazing.